It's been nearly 2 weeks since violent protest in Charlottesville, Virginia left one civil rights activist dead and nearly 24 people injured. The focal point of that protest was the Robert E. Lee statue in Emancipation Park. Workers spent much of this afternoon draping the statue of Robert E. Lee, plus Thomas Stonewall Jackson with a black tarp. Here's some video from people who were there. They did it to honor Heather Heyer, the 32-year-old woman who died after an alleged white nationalist rammed her with a car. The Charlottesville City Council voted on Tuesday to cover the monuments after a tense meeting with residents. Heyer's alleged killer is sitting behind bars tonight. He's just 20 years old, James Fields Jr., but he's facing more than half a dozen felony charges, including second-degree murder. NPR reports that growing up, Fields had a fondness for Nazism and Adolf Hitler. But one man who didn't know him at all says he just had a gut feeling about Fields before the rally even started that day. Alex Miller took a trip to Charlottesville for us here at Newsy and had a chance to talk to that man who photographed Fields throughout the day.
Chance, I met Eze Amos in Emancipation Park. It was once Robert E. Lee Park. He's a photographer. He does this for a living. He's been following this Robert E. Lee controversy long before this made national headlines. He's been doing it for about a year now, and he said he was up early the morning of the rally, and he saw James Fields standing by himself, and he thought it was a little bit off, so he started taking pictures. And he took me back to the spot where he saw him for the first time, long before there was any sort of danger.
This gentleman was standing right here, where you're standing. I think about where you're standing. And he was just typing on his phone. There's just something off with him, about him. He was wearing like brown khaki pants, a white shirt. He had his glasses on. His haircut actually was what got me. I saw his haircut and it just immediately took me back to Richard Spencer, like, this is one of his people, because they all kind of look alike. So this was the first shot I got of him.
Okay.
He was typing on his phone. And then the second one I took was this one, because the shutter made him look up, and he just gave me one look, and that was it. So every time I saw him in the crowd, I tend to want to shoot him. And I woke up Sunday morning, I saw his face on the news, like, I just thought to myself, wait a minute. I went back, scrolled through the photos, and there he was staring back at me.
And he told you more about how he just kind of zeroed in on this guy's face.
So he said what stuck out to him is that this man was alone. He was dressed like everybody else. He was in that new alt-right uniform, which is khaki pants, the belt, and the white collared shirt, and the haircut. And he said that it struck him that he was part of this group, but he happened to be by himself. And it made him think that something was a little bit off. He has made his living on following people around. He is a wedding photographer. He started doing a series in downtown Charlottesville where he focuses on the diversity of Charlottesville. So I think that he kind of has a sense a little bit about this. He also said that, photographers pay attention to people that they recognize. And this is a rally where a lot of people came in from out of town, and he didn't recognize a lot of people. And since he saw him earlier that day, when he saw him in the crowds, he was able to pick him out a little bit easier.
And it's interesting that his picture, many people said this guy's a lone wolf, he's out on his own, but his pictures actually put him in the midst of these groups that were marching through the streets that day.
Oh, he's front and center in a lot of it.
All right. Thank you so much, Alex.